So in this video, I want to kind of bounce around between the original Crow movie, the sequel, City of Angels, and the upcoming reboot. So just to start off the video, I'd like to say, and I think I speak for all of us when I say that the reboot Crow design is god-awful. I don't mind tattoos on a character, but if you have shitty tattoos, and I swear to God, their whole theme is hey, let's just put a bunch of nonsense tattoos that are just cringy as fuck, just to kind of cover the body up for no fucking reason. But if a tattoo looks good, it looks good. But we just, truth be told, don't need tattoos. I mean, Bill Skarsgård, nothing against him. I'm sure he's a fine actor. I've only seen him in It, really. So, nothing against him. It's not his fault. His character looks like shit. But at the same time, I kind of want to blame him. It's hey, you could have stood up and said, hey, this is a bad design and we need to change this. But you didn't, so... But the main blame should go towards directors and costume designers. There's no excuse for a design this bad. They legit Jared Leto jokered this motherfucker. So, with that being said, I was like, man, I'm going to have to go watch this reboot. Because if the costume looks like shit, and even when he's not dressed as the Crow and he's just Eric Draven, he still looks like shit. So I'm like, I gotta go see this movie in theaters and see if they can actually make it good. That being said, I finally sat down and watched the original Crow and the sequel. And I had always planned to watch the original. I didn't even know there was more than one, truth be told. But I'm not sure if I'll watch the third one. I heard the fourth one's just horrible. Wicked Prayer, I think it's called. I don't know what the third one's called, but I heard it's just terrible, the fourth one. So I don't know if I'll watch it. I'm kind of stubborn. Sometimes when I start a franchise, I'll finish it regardless. But I don't know. With that being said, though, I had to sit down and watch them. And so I'm going to give my thoughts, what I liked and what I didn't like. And I know people probably won't like this video all that much because of what I'll have to say. But, because, The Crow's a cult classic now? It wasn't when it came out. I think the reception, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't good when the original came out. And then over time, it became a cult classic, as movies do. So, like I said, I want to kind of bounce around and talk about what I hope the reboot can do better than the original movie. We already know the costume's out of the picture. That's just not going to be better. Eric Draven's tattoos look horrible in this new reboot. His hair looks terrible. I just don't understand. And for those who don't know, and I'm sorry I can't remember the exact quote, but they're inspired by Post Malone and Lil Peep for this new Eric Draven design. It's fucking ridiculous. And something about they wanted 19-year-olds to be able to relate or something. I don't know. It's so fucking stupid. It's batshit crazy, honestly. With that being said, though, something I'm hoping the reboot does better than the original. I hope instead of getting these flashbacks every now and then, I hope we can just get 20 minutes straight of the beginning of establishing this relationship between Eric and forgive me, I forgot his girlfriend's name. But establish the relationship instead of doing all these flashbacks every now and then, which is not a huge, it's not a big deal that the way they did it in the original, not at all. But I would just prefer having all this in the beginning. Make it nice and lovely and then make it go to shit. And, supposedly the girlfriend gets raped in the original. I couldn't tell, so maybe make it more obvious. I'm not saying I want to see someone get raped, but what I'm saying is make it so you truly hate the bad guys and you really want them to die. Maybe add some shock value and whatnot too. But it doesn't have to be super vulgar, But make it, pretty obvious, because I didn't know she got raped. I pretty much pieced it together, but at first I was just like, oh, okay. Maybe I'm just retarded, but that being said, yeah, make it so you actually hate the bad guys. Because with the original, the problem I had was I didn't necessarily hate them. I hated the characters, but not in the way that you're supposed to. I just thought they were badly designed, badly wrote, and just shitty gangsters. There was nothing good about like the four bad guys that assault his girlfriend and kill him and his girlfriend. There's just nothing good about them. They're not good bad character. How am I saying this? They're not good villains. They're just not. And to me, this movie seems a bit dated. I mean, obviously, but I mean, there's some things you can forgive, like the bad special effects. If a movie's a good watch, it's just a good watch, plain and simple. I don't care if the special effects aren't that good or if they're outdated, but you know, I've seen some movies with better special effects that still hold up now. But like I said, I'm not gonna hold that against the movie. I don't care all that much, but overall, I don't think the original is just wrote all that good. And Brandon Lee, rest in peace. It's a shame he died for this role, and it's a shame we still have fucking problems like this today. You think years later, fucking people would be way more safer, and the whole Alec Baldwin thing, which is not necessarily new anymore, but it's just like I just don't understand how shit like this happens. But it's a damn shame. Rest in peace, Brandon Lee. But yeah, I mean, I just don't he was super excited for this movie and whatnot, and super excited to move on to his next project, but we're not going to get into a whole lot of that. But what I will say, the movie doesn't really have a whole lot going for it, in my opinion. Like I said, bad villains. We'll talk about the main villain or the final villain a little bit, but for now, let's focus on this stuff. Just some scenes that just seem kind of like filler, or I just didn't care for them. Like, this maybe supposed to have a little bit of emotion behind them, but they just don't. So with the reboot, I want more emotion. I want a better goodbye. I'm just assuming that they're just going to do the reboot basically the exact same way the original is. Like, I don't think they're going to do anything a whole lot different. I'm all for if they do. But given the fact that they're using Eric Draven, the character, instead of just making a different character and having him be the Crow, then I'm assuming you're just going to do the same thing. So with that being said, just try to do everything, but do it better. Make the stuff that actually sucked good, like the villains. Make us actually hate and just lust over the fact that these people need to die or something. It's kind of dark, but it is what it is. Like, make us truly hate these villains. Make the revenge good, because I think any of the death scenes or any of the kills, I think they all kind of suck. They're all pretty tame and boring. There is one shootout scene that's decent enough, I guess. I think I was just being generous. I was like, nothing special. And I believe that's the point where Brandon Lee actually died during that scene. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. That's just what I was told. So I don't know. I had a lot of problems with the first movie. I was just like, this wasn't as good. I think it was just overhyped for me. Everyone kept telling me, you gotta watch it. It's really good. It's really good. So I watched it, and I'm just like, I've seen better movies. But, and I don't need a whole lot of action either. Like, I don't need a fucking Expendables type ass movie. I don't give a shit about that. I just, good story, some good scenes, good emotion, good action. I'm all for it. But I just didn't get all of what I wanted here. So with that being said, the final verdict is a 6 out of 10 for me for the original, which I'm being generous. It's my own opinion. You're free to agree or disagree with me. That's just my own opinion. There's some scenes I like, and there's some scenes I don't like. And in fact, there's a whole lot of scenes I don't like and wish they would have done better. Okay, let's talk about the final villain. So this guy, actually, I'm sorry. Let's talk about Tony Todd real fast. Tony Todd, legend. Candyman. He's in the movie. He's kind of like the henchman for the final villain, and he just doesn't do shit. And it's just kind of like underutilized. So I'm hoping he comes back in the reboot, and they just make him a better character. They don't have to make him like a main character by any means, but just, if he dies, which he will, make it better and just make his role better overall. I don't know. It's not like I'm sitting here writing for this reboot. I'm just saying what I would like to see personally. But actually utilize Tony Todd. Okay, now let's go to the main villain for real this time. So, he has long hair. He's a handsome guy. I'm not gay, I'm just honest. Handsome guy, long pretty hair, and dresses fashionably. And to top it all off, he has a killer voice. This guy is perfect for a villain, just perfect. And he plays the role pretty good. I enjoy it, you know. And by the end of the movie, his death is so heartbreakingly lame. Just so fucking boring. So he has the edge over Eric. And Eric just says, well, I can't remember exactly what he says because I'll be honest, I forgot a lot that happens in this original movie. But he basically just grabs the guy's head, transfers all his painful memories to him. He kind of like goes psycho real fast, slips off the roof. Just horrible execution of him falling from the roof. And his like the way he looks afterwards, it looks pretty good. You know, he gets impaled by a statue, like some gargoyle statue or some shit. So he has like spikes going out of his stomach and his mouth. And to top that off, all the blood is going down the statue out of its mouth, forming basically a fountain of blood. It looks cool. The execution's just really bad. So now that we live in 2024, all this can be done so much better and actually look really good. And in the final fight with just him against the crow is just boring too, honestly. But yeah, I just want better fight scenes, a better story. The premise of the story is fine. It's just the whole movie, man. I was just so disappointed by it. But I think it's time to move on to the sequel because I'm gonna start rambling on, and this is such a horrible video because I can't quite remember every single thing that happened because some of it's just forgettable to me. And it gets even worse with the sequel because I was bored the entire movie. Like I wasn't bored at least for the first movie. I think I just said I was, but I mean I was at least interested in the movie, but let down by the end of it. But like with this sequel, oh my god, I think my friend was telling me this is the best one. This is the best one. There's way more action. I'm sitting here thinking, man, this is horrible. I actually hate this movie. I don't like anything about this movie. The only thing that I slightly am okay with is the design of the crow, which I fucking hated at first. It kind of grew on me, but I still hate it. Honestly, I just don't like it. But yeah, I don't understand the time period. Like, there's just some weird shit in it, and I'm trying to think, like, what does this take place? Not that that's a huge deal. The villain this time around, I just don't care for him. At least his death scene, while it also looked like shit because of special effects, at least it was creative, kind of. I mean, they could have done it better. Not in terms of special effects because they look bad, but I don't think they could have improved just with the time period with them. I don't know. But, like, overall, the death scene, it was just very sudden, but it was all right. I mean, props to them. It was better than the first one, at least, but and there's a couple fight scenes that are decent, but, well, I think just one when he's fighting the Asian chick, which also, going back to the first movie, the other Asian chick, she gets her eyes kind of, clawed out by the actual crow. And that was neat, and I'm hoping in the reboot we get to see it be a little bit more gruesome, where maybe an eyeball is kind of like hanging out of her skull, something like that. But anyways, moving back to the sequel. I just did not really understand why we have this chick. Just happened to know that this guy is going to be resurrected, and then, the whole time I'm like sitting here thinking, these two are going to fuck at some point. Just for no reason. She's gonna like fall in love with some fucking dead guy. How fucking weird is that? But it didn't happen. But it almost did. But it didn't happen. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, I really did not like this movie. 3 out of 10 for me. And I think I'm still being generous with that score. 3 out of 10 for The Crow 2 City of Angels. Or The Crow City of Angels. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. And my friend told me, oh, you got this rock star, I think Iggy something, I can't remember his name, but I don't think he contributed to the movie at all. Worth a damn. Once again, just boring fucking characters. The villains all suck this time around. I don't like any of them. There's nudity in the movie. I don't mind nudity. Hey, I like to see some boobies. But it just felt so unnecessary, so forced. Just like everything else in the movie felt so forced. I'm like, no way, this chick just, is falling in love with this guy or something. That's, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's what I got watching this movie. I'm thinking, this bitch loves this guy just out of nowhere. Like, it feels so forced. Even her death scene feels so forced. I mean, she literally runs into the fucking, the little knife, and you see it coming a mile away. It's just like, yep, here we go on this shit. So yeah, I fucking hated the sequel, and there's much more I'm sure I'm leaving out. I just can't remember because it's also forgettable. Fuck the sequel, and that's what really makes me. And you know what? That's what really made me appreciate the first movie a little bit more. I'm still going with the 6 out of 10, but like, it made me think maybe after the sequel came out, that's what made everyone think, oh, you know what? Maybe the first one was actually really good considering this shitty movie. So that's why it became a cult classic. I don't know, but that would be funny to think about. That being said, yeah, I just couldn't get into the main actor overall. Some of his lines I just didn't like, and it kind of goes for the same with Brandon Lee. There's just some stuff he does that, it's not his fault. It's just the writing I didn't care for. So it's just like, eh. But one thing I didn't even mention that's a positive in both movies is just the theme. The theme of The Crow is excellent, honestly. So, I look forward to seeing or hearing that again in the reboot, because they're going to have it. If they don't, it'll actually be very surprising. Such a good theme, but I don't think I have anything else to talk about with the sequel. This is like a way longer video than I anticipated. But, yeah, that's my thoughts, I hope the reboot just does everything it can to be good. Which, even if it's a good movie, like I'm talking 10 out of 10, I'm still going to dock at least 1, maybe even 2 points just for the costume and the way the Crow looks in general, because that's a fucking abomination and a disgrace. Here's the deal, and it made me actually sit down and watch the original, because I hadn't seen the original, like I said, when this reboot, the first look at Bill Skarsgård as the Crow, and I was fucking offended looking at it. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is this? So, even if the movie is actually really fucking good, it just cannot be a 10 out of 10 in my eyes because of the shitty costume design. But we'll see. Supposedly we're getting a teaser trailer tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. But that's going to do it for this video. If you watched the entirety of this video, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you a fan of The Crow? Are you like me and you haven't seen it? Are you like me and you just didn't like it as much as everyone else? Or are you in love with it? I know I have some of my friends that just absolutely love this movie, and more power to them. But, yeah, as for me, I just couldn't really get into them. So I still maybe plan to watch the other two, but I'm in no hurry. So it could be soon, it could be 3 years from now. I truth be told, don't know. I do know if I do watch them, I'll make a video on them, and I'll do something like I did here where I just, talk about both in one video. So with that, I'll see you in the next video. Once again, thanks for watching.